What's going on, party people? Captain Zeus here, and I'm back with some DCU news for you guys. I know it's been quite a while since I've dropped a video on this. I do apologize, but we have something that we got to talk about here. Now, DC Studios is going to be dropping a trailer or a teaser trailer for the upcoming DCU film Superman. This is going to drop on Thursday. Ahead of that, we were able to see a poster and a somewhat moving image with a little tidbit of the soundtrack to expect for this upcoming movie. Now, on the topic of the poster, if you look on the screen here, there's a huge similarity between the MCU start and the DCU start. The first movies for each universe, for each phase, have a very similar resemblance here. They're both simplistic, they get to the point, they show you who the movie's going to be about, and it doesn't need to have anything else. Too many times do posters have just a whole bunch of characters all over the screen with like a single background. It looks lazy and it doesn't look appealing. This looks awesome. The Iron Man one goes hard, don't get me wrong, but the Superman one, I don't know what it is about it. It's just a nice breath of fresh air, and it's just gets you so excited for this movie just from the poster. If you've listened to the soundtrack, the little tidbit, you can tell for me, it feels very Hans Zimmer-y. It feels like this is something I could listen to from Man of Steel, but it also gives a more hopeful look or a hopeful tone to this upcoming Superman, which again is exactly the goal here and what a lot of people are looking forward to. Now, alongside this, there was some news that also dropped, according to Collider, about the James Gunn Superman movie, and I'm going to go ahead and share some of this information with you guys. James Gunn has shared the details as followed. This is just a bit of a summary, so I will have the link of the full article in the description below. Now, he says that this is going to start in the middle of action. He was quoted saying, Superman's already existing, Lois and Clark already know each other, Lex already hates Superman's guts from the beginning, although they don't know each other personally. So we start right in the middle of the action and takes place over a short amount of time, which I think is awesome. The fact that it's been a consistent for the DCU so far. We're just already in an existing universe. There isn't any need for developing an origin story when we've seen it done several times throughout a variety of different mediums. So I do like this approach. Now, one thing that also stood out is the way the action is going to be done. Apparently, flying action is going to be shot with drones and is inspired by Top Gun Maverick. James Gunn was quoted saying, and being able to shoot stuff in the sky like that is really hard. So we took a lot from films like Top Gun Maverick. We shoot a lot of our own action with actual drones flying in and around Superman and the people that he's flying with, engineer, whoever else that he's fighting up in the air. We did that on sound stages. We got these really small, crazy drones now. We've got some of the best flyers in the world here who are working with it. And so we use those guys a lot, and everything's planned out with me as it always is, which I think is super cool and a different and more unique approach when it comes to filming the action sequences, because a big thing is like, how do you want to make this as epic as Man of Steel? You want to keep the DCU Superman unique and more comic book oriented, but still be as cinematic as what we've been able to see in the past. I think this is a fantastic approach. Now, there's going to be a variety of different characters in this movie making their different appearances, but they're not going to be cameos. James Gunn has said that there won't be any cameos. They're going to have their own role in the film, just like Nathan Fillion, Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, as well as Isabel Mercedes hot girl, but one character specifically is having a major role out of the smaller roles, if you will. Mr. Terrific is going to be having a huge role in the film, especially in terms of the plot. I have a feeling it's going to be Brainiac that's going to be an antagonist here, so having Mr. Terrific be a core part of helping Superman is just going to be awesome. Now, something that I think is absolutely huge that everyone should know about this movie is that Superman is not going to be setting up future DCU projects. Now, this is something that is the opposite of what Marvel typically does with almost every single one of their movies and shows, so it's a nice change of pace that we're going to be having something that's not focused on creating a whole first phase within the first movie. When asked about how much time the movie is spent setting up other stuff, James Gunn had this to say: zero. I mean, maybe two little things, two moments, but basically if something's there just to set up something else, but I even say that. And for all I know, those things can be cut by the time we get to the editing room because something has to exist for this movie. And if that works in tandem with setting up characters that exist in other media, then that's great. If this sets up stuff in Peacemaker, which it does, then that's great. But that is never, ever, ever with me going to be something that's I'm going to sacrifice even a moment or be in the story for, especially a movie. With TV, you've got a lot more leniency to be able to do that. But in a movie, every beat has to be in there for the movie itself. Now, finally, one other thing that I think a lot of people should also pay attention to is the attire. Now, for a long time, James Gunn team was anti-trunks. They said no to the trunks on Superman's costume, but David Corenswet changed James Gunn's mind. James Gunn has elaborated in this, saying that David said something to me that really affected me. We were trying on all these different versions and we screen tested with trunks and no trunks, and one of the things David said is that Superman wants kids to not be afraid of him. He's an alien. He's got these incredible powers. He shoots beams out of his eyes and can blow the truck over. He's this incredibly powerful, could be considered scary individual, and he wants people to like him. He wants to be the symbol of hope and positivity. So he dresses like a professional wrestler. He dresses in a way that makes people unafraid of him. That shows that. And I really like that. That really clicked in for me. And I think trying to pretend that Superman's costume doesn't have some frivolity to it at its base, trying to make it look serious, is silly because he's a superhero. He's the first one, brightly colored, and that's who he is. And so that's where we landed, and eventually we all came to a place where almost all of us agreed on the trunks. I get the argument, trunks or no trunks. It's been a staple in comic books for a long time now. I personally am anti-trunks. However, I can agree with this approach in terms of Superman's costume. It's a valid argument and a valid way to go with having trunks on. To be honest, the trunks look pretty good on the costume too. It's not even that bad. So honestly, I like David's argument here, and I agree that this was definitely the best choice for sure. And it just enhances the already existing Christopher Reeves vibe that we're getting for this Superman and from David here in general. Like I said, there's a lot more in this article that we can go into in terms of the interview, but those were just some of the core things that stood out to me about the upcoming Superman movie. Now, the trailer should be dropping on Thursday. I might be able to do a review or a trailer reaction on it on the channel, but what are you guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Captain Zeus, and I will catch you guys later. See you.